is Joanna Scaplehorn, and I am an EU and International Officer here at the University of South Wales. Excuse me. So today, thank you very much for joining us. The purpose of the session is to run through a presentation to give you some information about fees, scholarships, how to apply, what kind of courses we have here at the University of South Wales. And also, following the presentation, there'll be an opportunity for you to ask some questions, anything you like about the university, its courses, applications, and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. If you are not able to, if you wanted to have a look at this later, this Google Hangout will be available on YouTube for you, and we can send you the link for that. So what we'll do now then, we'll just make a start on our presentation. So you should see this coming up on your screen shortly. As we're going through the presentation, you're more than welcome to start typing and submitting your questions, which you should be able to do from your screen, and then I'll come to them later on. Okay, so we're just about to see the presentation. Just bear with us a second. It was nice to see how many students we have logged into the session today. We have over 35 students, which is fantastic. And most of you are from South America and from North as well, North America. So we have a really good audience today. So again, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you'll find this session to be really useful. Okay then, so just there for you is my email address. So if you did need to contact me about anything we've talked about today, please feel free to do so. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering in the presentation today. So where are we? Our location, our campuses, entry requirements, tuition fees and scholarships, how to apply and the importance of a personal statement, accommodation, and what support will be available to you as an international student here at the University of South Wales. Okay, so to give you a bit of an idea about the location of the university, obviously this is something very important. Now, you should on your screen be able to see a cluster of our campuses in the southwest of the UK. So we have 3 campuses in total. We have our Pontypridd campus, our Cardiff campus, and our Newport campus. And we're really well located because we're outside London, so it takes about 2.5 hours to get to London by train, and there are train stations located outside each of our campuses. And of course, the great thing about being outside London is that the cost of living is going to be much lower. So that's one huge benefit of studying here at the University of South Wales. But also, if you did want to go to London, it's really easy for you to get there. It's very convenient. And of course, it's really convenient to access all the different cities in the rest of the UK. So Wales was voted as one of the top countries in the world to visit in 2014. That was by the Rough Guide. So that's a good reason to come and visit us because we're a very beautiful country. And for those of you who are in some South American countries, or even North American actually, so Canada, America, and obviously South, you've got Brazil, which is a huge country. So you're going to find a big difference here in the UK because we are a very small country in comparison. And as I mentioned there, the cost of living is much lower, and it can be up to £100 less to live here in Wales than in many other parts of the UK. So there's a good benefit to staying with us. So why should you think about the University of South Wales? Well, we're one of the largest universities in the UK, and you certainly wouldn't be alone as an international student because we have over 33,000 students in total, and 4,500 of those students are international and European students. So about 15% of the university's population. And also what you'll find is that we were voted as a top 10 university in the What University Student Choice Awards for our student facilities. So that's obviously a great benefit to you. And the great thing about that particular award is that it's actually voted for by students. So I guess this speaks for itself. Scholarships are something that you might be really interested in, and if you're a student, an international student, you would be eligible for a scholarship of up to £2,500 each year, and I'll come on to that a little bit later. And the reason you want to come and study in university is because you want to have a good job at the end of this. And the good news for you is that 94% of our graduates are either in employment or further study within 6 months of graduating, so that's very positive. And finally, many of our courses are accredited, and when we say they're accredited, it means that professional bodies related to that course, so for example, if you're studying marketing, that you'd be looking at the Chartered Institute of Marketing, they've looked at the course and they've said, yes, this is a good quality course, so we're happy to accredit it. So you know that the quality of the content is going to be excellent. We also work with a number of global companies, and I'm sure you will recognise some of these companies here, the BBC, Rolls-Royce, IBM. So that gives you an idea that we work with so many different companies, and obviously this is going to be useful for you. And the one thing I should mention here is that the lecturers that will be teaching you have usually worked in the industry themselves, so they bring a great deal of knowledge and experience with them. And of course, they also bring a lot of contacts, which means that if you were thinking about maybe doing some work experience during the summer in a related field, then your lecturers are a good starting point to discuss this. Now, on another note, if you are thinking about studying in the UK and maybe doing some part-time work, it is possible to do this under the Tier 4 student visa. So you are allowed to work for up to 20 hours every week, and you don't need to apply for any separate visa. It's fine for you to do it under your Tier 4 student visa. Now, most students tend to work either on campus, but of course a lot of students want to live on campus, so there's a lot of competition, or in nearby Pontypridd or in Cardiff, because obviously in town more opportunities to get part-time work experience. Okay, so just moving on then, this tells you a little bit about the campuses that we have. This is our Newport City campus, a very modern campus, and this is where you'll find our teacher training courses, education and professional programs, and it's right in the city centre, so a really good location. Then you have our Cardiff campus, and we're just undergoing a great deal of expansion at the moment, because in September we'll be opening the Atrium 2, which is the second phase of our original atrium building. So this means that there'll be a lot more space for all our creative students. And of course, this is where our creative students will be based. So we have the School of Art and Design, the School of Drama and Music, and also the School of Media as well. So a really good mix of creative courses are based there. Just bear with us a second, we have a few problems. I'm sure we'll get these sorted very quickly for you. There you go. So anything creative, this is where you'll be based, in Cardiff campus. Then we have the Pontypridd campus, and as you can see, this is a very beautiful campus, and we should probably mention here that each of these campuses is about 30 minutes away from each other by train. So Pontypridd campus is about 25-30 minutes further north of Cardiff, and you can see it's a very beautiful campus. And this is where you will find it actually splits into two sites. So the first part is the Treforest site, and this is where you'll find our business courses, computing, psychology, English, history and law. The second part of our Pontypridd campus is the Glyntaf site, and to give you a bit of an idea about how this works is that you have two mountains opposite each other, and I say mountains, but that sounds maybe a little bit dramatic for what they are. And it's easy to walk between these mountains, and on each of these mountains you have our Treforest site, and on the other side, on the other mountain, you have the Glyntaf site. So it's very, very easy for you to walk between them. And on our Glyntaf site, you have our science courses, nursing, medical sciences, pharmaceutical sciences, and sports courses. Now, I guess a lot of you are wondering how much would it cost to study here at the University of South Wales. So I'm hoping this will give you a good idea. Now, I'll start with our MBA course. And what I should mention here is that whichever course you apply for, you will automatically apply for a scholarship when you apply for your course. So there isn't an additional scholarship application. And you'll know if you've been successful for a scholarship because we will make a note of this on your offer letter. So for the MBA, the cost is £12,900. The scholarship for that is £1,500. That means that you would pay £11,400 for the entire year that you're studying with us. If you wanted to study any of the masters programme, you would be paying £12,600. The scholarship would be £2,000, so you would be paying £10,600 for the entire year. Now, if you were looking at a bachelor degree programme, which is usually a BA, which is Bachelors of Arts or a Bachelors of Science, it would take you 3 years to do an undergraduate degree, whereas for the Masters and the MBA, it would take you 1 year usually. So for an undergraduate degree, you would pay £11,900 each year. Now, the scholarship for this would depend on which country you come from. So, for example, if you are from Brazil, Mexico, or Colombia, then you would be eligible for a scholarship of £2,500, okay? Now, this is a scholarship each year, and this replaces the standard scholarship of £1,500, which is what students from all other countries would be eligible for. So, for example, if you're a student from Canada, you would pay £11,900. However, the scholarship is worth £1,500, so you would pay £10,400. If you're a student from Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, the scholarship would be £2,500, therefore you would pay £9,400. Now, we'll talk a little bit about entry requirements, but if you don't meet the entry requirements for a bachelor's degree, you would need to do a 1-year foundation programme before you join the undergraduate degree. And the tuition fee for that course is £7,350, and that's for the entire year. And we don't have a scholarship for that course because it's actually very reasonably priced in comparison to our other universities in the UK. Now, as I mentioned, we'll talk about entry requirements in a second, but you will need to have IELTS, okay? IELTS 6.5 is the entry requirement for a postgraduate Masters, and IELTS 6 with 5.5 in each band is the entry requirement for an undergraduate degree. And if you're below these entry requirements, then you would need to do an English pre-sessional course. So you can see on the screen here that you have a 20-week, 15-week, 10 and 5-week pre-sessional, and the tuition fees are there for you. You don't need to worry too much about this, because if we think you need to do an English pre-sessional programme, we will be able to guide you on which of these pre-sessional is best for you. So moving on to how do I pay my tuition fee. So if you decided you'd like to study with us, you must pay a minimum of 50% of your tuition fee as a deposit. So let's make things easy and say that your tuition fee is £10,000. Then £5,000 of that tuition fee would need to be paid in advance. Now, once you've paid that tuition fee 50%, then that means we can issue something called a CAS, and this is what you use to apply for your visa. Now, the remaining 50%, so the other £5,000, you can either pay it in full before or after enrolment, and when I say, sorry, or on enrolment, and you would get a £300 discount on your tuition fee, which means that you would pay £9,700 based on our example of £10,000 fee. Or you could pay your balance in 3 instalments, there's no fee for doing that, or you can pay in 7 instalments, and there's a £25 admin fee per instalment. Now, the payments are made directly to the university, and they can be done using your application portal, or they can be done by a bank transfer or over the phone, whichever is easier for you. And applying can be very easy too, because we have a portal called UCAS, Universities and Colleges Admission Service, and this is what most students at an undergraduate level will use to apply. However, it's not compulsory for you to use the UCAS application form. You can apply directly to the university, especially at this point in the year, because it's too late to apply through UCAS now. So if you were an undergraduate or a postgraduate applicant, you can apply directly to the university. It's very easy to do that. It's a link to our online application portal where you submit your application. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also submit your payment through the portal. We have over 43,000 courses to choose from, so I'm sure you might be able to choose a course which is suitable for you. So yeah, and in the UK, 2.5 million applications are processed each year. So you can imagine it's a very big number of students who are coming to the UK to study. This tells you a little bit more about the application process. So as I said, you can apply directly to the university. Now, in some countries, we also work with representatives. They're called agents sometimes. And if you were to go to the country page on our website, you will find our representatives there. Or alternatively, you can email me and I will put you in contact with one of our agents. It's always beneficial to apply through one of our agents if you can. The reason being that they will have a network of other students who are applying to the University of South Wales, so they can put you in touch with them before you actually travel. Also, they would be able to help you with your visa application process. The other thing that's mentioned here is we would also need to see your academic certificates and your mark sheets from high school onwards. We also need to see an academic reference, and this is usually from your high school or from your university, and it's very important that that's submitted on headed paper. Then we need to see evidence of your English language certificate. So for example, an IELTS from an approved UKVI centre. Now, at this point in the application, you may not have already finished either your high school, your degree, or even your English, your IELTS. If you don't have all of these documents, it doesn't matter. You can still submit your application, but it just means that if you're missing your English, for example, or maybe you haven't quite finished high school yet, it just means that your offer letter will be conditional on meeting those requirements. Now, for every application, we would read through a personal statement, and I cannot stress how important the personal statement is as part of the application, and we'll go into that in a little bit more detail further on. If you're applying for a creative course such as art and design, animation, music, drama, then you may need to submit a portfolio, and we can provide you with a bit more information about that on our website. So as I said, the personal statement is very, very important, and it's your chance to sell and differentiate yourself, your chance to influence the admissions tutors and explain your motivation for wanting to study at the university. So what are we looking for in the personal statement? Well, really it's quality rather than quantity is important here. And we tend to say try and keep it to maybe one side of A4 paper. So the first thing you need to do is be excited and enthusiastic about your chosen course. Show us some enthusiasm. Why should we pick you over another applicant? Also, make sure you write clearly and correctly. Make sure that you read over your personal statement for any spelling errors and to make sure it's grammatically correct. Discuss any experience that you have in that area, any work experience, any placements that you've done, or any extracurricular activities that you've done in the area that you've chosen to study. And demonstrate your ability to reflect on those experiences. Talk about any interests and achievements you think that would be worthwhile. So, any kind of hobby you have which is related to the course, tell us about it in your personal statement. It's very, very important to do this. Okay, so moving on to accommodation, because everybody wants to know where will I live when I come study in the University of South Wales? Well, the first thing I would say is that we have accommodation on each of our 3 campuses. So whichever campus you choose to study on, we will be able to make sure that we are able to help you with accommodation. There are 2 types of accommodation. The first kind of accommodation is on-campus university-owned accommodation. The second kind of accommodation is private accommodation, and that means it's owned by a private landlord and not by the university. Now, university accommodation tends to be very similar in quality, so you know that you can sign a contract before you come to the university. Private accommodation, we always say to you, you should never ever sign a contract before you actually view the accommodation yourself. So it's always best to book a hotel or a bed and breakfast to view accommodation before you sign private accommodation contracts. Okay, so on your screen in front of you now, you have accommodation, and this is the university's on-campus accommodation. And this gives you a good idea about what you can expect. So the accommodation is self-catered, and as you can see in the picture, you'll have your own bedroom. All the accommodation is en suite, so you'll have your own bedroom, your own bathroom with a shower, toilet and a basin. And then you would share your living room and a kitchen with about 5 or 6 other students. So it's nice because you get your own space and you're able to socialise with other students too. Now these are all single study bedrooms, so you'd have a room each. All your bills would be included in the cost of the room, which is usually about £79 to £156 a week, depending on which room you go for. And your bills and your Wi-Fi is usually included within that. So private accommodation. Now, it does tend to be a little bit cheaper than living on campus. So if you think that accommodation on campus can range between, let's say, £79 to £165 a week, it will probably be about £50 a week or a little bit more to live in private accommodation. But as I said earlier, the quality of private accommodation does vary. So you really do need to look at the accommodation before you book anything. However, the private accommodation is usually very, very close to our campus. And we also have a letting agency on the campus to help you find accommodation if you are thinking private accommodation is the way forward for you. Okay, support. We have actually won awards for our support at the University of South Wales. And this is because we do a really good job of making sure that you are well supported. We have a counselling and advice service. We have money services to make sure that if you need advice on budgets, we can help you with that. A health centre is on the campus. So if you do feel slightly unwell, then you can go to them and we will put you in touch with doctors, nurses, and refer you as necessary. We also have the Students' Union on our campuses, and these are here they're actually run by the students themselves for the students, and they organise lots of different events through the year. We also have chaplaincies and prayer rooms on the campus. So if you are religious, then there's always a welcome for any religion, and there will be a space for you to pray. We have a disability and dyslexia support, and obviously that's important if you have dyslexia or a disability. A very important team at the university is the Immigration and International Student Advice Team. They're called ISA for short, and they help you with all sorts of things such as visa issues, how to open a bank account, how to register with the police. So they're very invaluable to you. They also organise the International Welcome Week, and this is a really great opportunity for you to come along. It starts on the 9th of September this year, and it's a great opportunity for you to come along, open a bank account, get to know the local area, meet new friends. We really recommend for you to come along to that, and you can find out some more information on our international website for that. So it's a great way of getting to know people. The other thing that we offer is an arrival service. Okay, so that's telling you a little bit about International Welcome Programme on your screen there. But on the bottom, we've got an arrival service. Now, we recommend that you arrive into Cardiff International Airport because we organise a taxi service for you to pick you up from the airport and to take you to any of our campuses, and it's completely free of charge. We also are able to help you to get from London Heathrow, but you do need to book both the arrival service and International Welcome Programme in advance. Okay, so what we'll do now then is move on to our question and answer session. So I'm just going to start going through some of your questions then. So we're just going to start the session now. One of the questions that we've been asked today is, would you be able to work while you're studying in the UK? And I think I may well have covered that. And the answer is yes, you are able to work. As I said, you're able to work part-time while you are studying in the UK. So 20 hours a week during the term time. But during the holidays, so you've got the summer holidays, the Easter holidays, and you also have the Christmas holidays, you would be able to work full-time there as well. Okay. So I'm just going to click on to the next one. And this is from a Brazilian student who's interested in coming to study with us, which is good news. And he wants to know, what is the process to apply and when do the submissions start? Okay, so we're already accepting applications for this September and for next September. Even if you wanted to come and join us this September, it's not too late. You can apply. If you're thinking about applying for next September, we are now accepting applications. Very easy process. All you would need to do is go onto our website, www.southwales.ac.uk. If you click on our international section, and there will be a tab there for applying, and then that will take you through to our online application form, which should be very easy for you to fill out. Okay, so I'll move on to the next one now. This is for Julius, and he's asking, do we offer a course in Library and Information Sciences course? That does sound like a very, very niche course, actually. So I'm afraid we don't offer that course specifically here, but what I would suggest for you to do is to have a look on our website to go through the courses that we offer and see if there's anything there would be suitable for you. Okay, moving on to the next course. This is from one of our Brazilian, one of our inquirers here, and she would like to know more about the scholarships. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a scholarship for Brazilian students specifically, and this is worth, I mean, you don't mention whether you are interested in an undergraduate course or a master's course. If it's an undergraduate course that you're interested in, the scholarship would be worth £2,500 each year, bearing in mind it's a 3-year course. Now, this means that instead of you paying £11,900, you would pay £9,400 each year, and that tuition fee would stay the same for the 3 years. If you're interested in a master's course, then it would be £12,600. Your scholarship would be £2,000 for the year, which means you would pay £10,600. You also ask about a medicine course. I'm afraid we don't offer a medical course for international students, so I'm afraid that wouldn't be an option for you. Okay then, so moving on to the next question. We have a question from Paula, and Paula's asking, what are we supposed to do first, pay the 50% tuition or get the student visa? Well, quite simply, you would need to pay your 50% tuition fee to be able to get the documents that you need to then be able to apply for your visa. So I hope that answers your question. As I mentioned in my presentation, we have the opportunity for you to pay either the 50% in the other 50% balance when you arrive on campus, when you enroll, and you get a £300 discount, or you can pay in installments. So there's plenty of options there for you. Okay, the next question we have is from Lace. Lace is from Brazil and would like to know about master degree programs in sciences and specifically physics. Well, I'm afraid, Lace, we don't actually offer any master's programs in physics. We do offer some of the courses in physics, in sciences at a master's level. And I would suggest for you to have a look on our website on the courses tab under sciences and have a look to see which course might be suitable. But I'm afraid we don't offer any physics courses. We do offer things, general science programs and forensic sciences as well, which may be of interest, but worth having a look on the website to see which course might be suitable for you. Okay, we have another question here. Do students in the first year have the chance to apply for scholarships? And the answer to that is yes. So when you submit your application, we will automatically consider you for a scholarship. And if you are successful for your scholarship, then we will be able to let you know about this because it will be noted on your offer letter. You're also asking, what is the cost of a room for a student to live in? Well, it depends really on what kind of room you're looking for. So if you're looking for an on-campus room, you'd probably be looking at about £80 a week, including your bills. That's the most basic accommodation, and it does increase from there. But as I mentioned earlier, that if you were looking for private accommodation, you're looking at upwards of £50 to £60 a week. The thing is, though, that generally your bills wouldn't be included in that, so you would need to set aside some money to cover the cost of your bills. So it might look cheaper, but sometimes you'll find that the bills are not included, so just bear that in mind. But in university-owned accommodation, your bills will always be included. Pablo's also asked, what is the maximum amount of money that a student can receive with a scholarship? Well, we offer partial scholarships, as I mentioned there. So if you're interested in an MBA, it would be £1,500 for the year. If you're interested in a master's programme, it would be £2,000 for the year. And then an undergraduate programme, it would depend on your nationality. If you're a Brazilian, Mexican, or Colombian student, the scholarship would be £2,500 each year. And if you're a North American student, it would be £1,500. So that would be the maximum scholarship. Pablo's also asking, what is the average amount of money that you would need per year? Well, to be able to get a visa, you would need to be able to prove that you have enough money to cover all your costs per month for at least 9 months. Now, you need to have at least £1,015 every month to study in the UK. And this equates to roughly £12,000 over 12 months, or a calendar year, if you decide to stay for the summer holidays. Or if you just plan to stay for term time, that's from September until May, June, then that would be about 9 months, and it would come to about just over £9,000. All right, so thank you for your question, Pablo. Okay, we have another question here from Julio, and Julio's asking, is payment of the courses done monthly or annually? Well, because you need to apply for a visa, you would have paid the first instalment of 50% in advance to be able to get your visa. Then you have 3 options. You can either pay the other 50% balance in advance or on enrolment. And if you do this, you will get a £300 discount off your entire tuition fee. The other option, of course, is to pay in installments. And you can either pay in 2 installments, and there's no extra fee for this, or you can pay in 7 installments. And if you do this, there will be an admin fee of £25 per installment. So you need to bear that in mind. Most students tend to pay in full if they are international students, because when you apply for your visa, you must show the UK Visas and Immigration that you have the total, the entire fee for your tuition fee in your bank account before you apply for your visa. So if the money is in your account, then it makes sense to pay in full so that you can get your £300 discount then. So thank you for your question, Julio. Okay, we have another student then, Fernanda, and Fernanda's from Mexico, and she's interested in a business psychology course and asking about the fees and the length. So I guess this would be a good question for any of you who are interested in studying a undergraduate degree, anybody from South America, particularly Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia. Because for you guys, the cost of the course would be £11,900. The scholarship would be £2,500, which means that you would pay £9,400 each year. Now, the tuition fee, as I mentioned, that would cover, that's each year for 3 years, because it would be a 3-year course. We do offer a business psychology course, so it might be worth you having a look on our website and having a look at the course content of that to see if this is something you would be interested in. But it's certainly a very interesting course. So thank you very much for your question, Fernanda. Okay, that seems to be all the questions that we have. I'm more than happy to answer any more questions. So if you do have any questions you'd like to ask, please do submit them on the screen, and I'll be happy to answer them for the next few minutes or so. We've just had a question from Ricardo, and who is a mechanical engineering student. All the scholarships Ricardo's asking, are these partial scholarships or is it a total scholarship? Ricardo, you will find that the scholarships are partial scholarships. So you mentioned that you're a mechanical engineering student, but you don't mention whether you're undergraduate or postgraduate. I'm assuming you're an undergraduate student. And that means that you would get a scholarship of £2,500 each year to study with us. So it would be a partial scholarship, which means you pay £9,400. Just in case you are a master's student, then the scholarship you'd apply for is £2,000. Again, another partial scholarship, which means that you would pay £10,600 for the entire year. Thank you for your question there, Ricardo. I hope that answers it for you. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Please don't be shy, because I'm sure that everyone has very similar questions to you. They just don't like to ask. So if you do feel that you want to ask something, please do so now. Or of course, if you did want to email me directly, you're more than welcome to. And we'll put my email address up a little bit later for you. So we've just had a question from Abby, and Abby has a very good question. She's asking, what would be the tuition fee for materials on a course? So Abby's asking specifically for a film course here, so cameras, lights, what would be the cost? Would you be able to rent them? Well, the great news for you, Abby, is that in the atrium, in our Cardiff campus, that's where you'll find all our creative courses. So that's been designed specifically for creative students. So it's a great hub if you are interested in a film course. Now, film equipment can be really expensive, as can any kind of equipment. So what we offer is an opportunity for you to loan all the facilities and the cameras and lights, etc., that you need. So it's a very flexible option for you, because rather than actually spending the money yourself, you can go and loan these from the university. You would sign it out and sign it back in again. And usually that loan service is free. Okay, and obviously all the equipment would be state of the art, because we want to make sure that you are using the same equipment that you would find in the industry. Okay, so to answer your question, you wouldn't have to buy any specific equipment yourself. You would be able to loan this from the university. Okay, and usually that would be free of cost. Okay, do we have any other questions for this session? I think we've covered the tuition fees, we've covered the scholarships, we've covered the location, we've covered loans, tuition fees, and also the equipment. We've covered accommodation and student support. The only thing I would suggest to you is, whichever course you're interested in, have a look on the website onto our course tab. This would be a good option for you to have a look to see which courses we offer, because there are so many different subject areas, from business to psychology, art and design, music, drama, engineering, lots of different courses to choose from. I'm sure you'll find something to suit. Okay, so Abby's asking another question. So is there any other scholarship that you might be able to apply to? Well, the scholarships that I've mentioned today, they are the university's partial scholarship. So they would be the maximum scholarship that you would be able to apply for from the university. It might also be worth you speaking with the British Council in your country, embassies, Ministry of Education, to see whether there are any other scholarships that they might be able to recommend for you to apply. But from the university, these would be the maximum scholarships you can apply to. Okay, so this is a very good question from Pablo. So Pablo's asking, after you finish your undergraduate course, are there any contacts to get a job? What are the job opportunities for graduates at the university? Well, we have an excellent success rate for our graduates, because 94% of our graduates are actually either in employment or in further study within 6 months of graduating. So I hope you think that will be, I'm sure you can agree that's an excellent statistics for how successful our graduates are in finding employment. Now, as I said earlier, our lecturers themselves have usually worked in the field in which they're teaching, so they are industry experts. They also bring a lot of experience and contacts with them. So I think it's a good way to see whether there are any opportunities by speaking with your lecturers. We also have an excellent career service, and they will be able to provide you with advice on how to find jobs after university. They also provide a lot of support. So, for example, giving you help with your CV, helping you with interview skills, showing you where to look for these jobs. So that's a good way of finding employment after you finish the course. They also have an award called Grad Edge. And Grad Edge is a really great opportunity for students to do some extracurricular work during their studies. And basically, at the end of it, they get a certificate. And this is something you can put on your CV. And something very, very helpful, and something that it's basically the skills that employers are looking for, such as event management, or it could be that you've organised something, or you've contributed to some teamwork. So it's all helpful in building your CV. So thank you for that question, Pablo. Okay, so another good question, Pablo. So are there any opportunities to study major and minor? So basically, if you are not quite sure which sort of subject you'd like to study, there might be an opportunity for you to study a bit of both those subjects. It's called combined studies, basically. So you might have a major in English and a minor in a different subject. What I would suggest is, if you're not sure what you want to study and you do think that a combined studies course is the right thing for you, if you have a look on our website onto combined studies on the courses section, and that will tell you then which subject areas you can mix and match then, see if they might be suitable for you. So thank you for that question, Pablo. Okay, so do we have any further questions for this session? You will be able to find this Google Hangout on YouTube after this. Okay, so if you aren't sure about anything, or if you want to look back on any part of this Google Hangout, you're more than welcome to do that. And of course, if you want to send me an email to ask any questions, I'd be more than happy to have an individual Skype interview or Skype chat, something quite informal. You're more than welcome to ask me any questions directly. And Maria here has a good question. So Fernanda has a good question here. What is the length of a master's program? Now, generally, a master's program that you start in September is a one-year program. But if you decide that you want to start the course in February, because some of our master's programs are available in February, then usually it will take about 1.5 years, because there's an extra summer holiday in there. So 1 year if you start in September, 1.5 years if you start in February. Okay, so we'll just stay online for another minute. If you do have any questions, please do let us know. I don't think anybody else has any questions for now, but I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you ever so much for joining us today. I really do hope that you have found the session to be useful. And as I said earlier, you're more than welcome to contact me directly if you have any further questions. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.